it's Donovan, and welcome back to another edition of the Special Hour, Episode 4, and I'm joined today, as usual, with my host, MrDean.
I am moving my arms in a really awkward motion right now because I'm just so energetic and ready to get right back into the Special Hour. What's up, everyone? This is MrDean. Donovan, what have you been up to the past week?
Donovan,
we can't be skipping the pleasantries like this. We gotta slow down.
I have quite a bit to talk about. Maybe I'll go briefly over. I've been telling Mr. what weapons to use and not use in Splatoon 3. I've been eating deep dish pizza, and I was watching the Minecraft movie again, where my brain just completely rotted away.
Wow.
Like right before this, and I filmed a little segment for an upcoming video with my friends. We had 6 people in a 5-seater car, so I can't say I did stuff someone in the back of my trunk.
Wow. Okay.
Anyways, how about you?
There's a lot to unpack here. So what were your thoughts on the Minecraft movie?
Oh, peak cinema. Never has a movie just made my brain so smooth. Like, all the wrinkles are gone. I'm not thinking right now.
It definitely made my brain feel smooth while watching it, but mainly just like from how hard I was laughing at the movie. But yeah.
I've already seen the movie, so this was my second time watching it. My friends have never seen the movie, but they've all seen the memes, and I wish I had a giant bucket of popcorn and just absolutely wrecked my friend's theater.
Yeah, I was about to ask. Did you get chicken jockeyed in your theater?
Oh no. Well, my friend did throw his empty water bottle at the TV.
Oh wow.
Anyways, how about you? What have you been doing this past week?
This past week's been relatively uneventful. I've finally been off of part-time work for the next few months or so. So I spent a lot of time working on video stuff, hanging out with family. Just today, I was celebrating one of my friend's birthdays.
Awesome.
Shout out Nathan. I know he's definitely not watching this, but shout out anyway.
On the off chance.
Trust me, he's not. Like, there's actually no way he's watching this. But anyway, so we'll go and kind of get into this. We're gonna be doing this episode as a Q&A specific episode. So we had a lot of questions, and we didn't want to fall behind on them. We want to make sure everyone's question gets answered. So we were like, you know what, let's just go and kind of have an episode just solely dedicated to questions. So, Donovan, are you ready? Because we have some riveting stuff to go through.
I'm pretty excited for some of these.
Awesome. Okay, so our first question is from one of my so far, almost every question that we've answered has been from one of my real life friends. Some of these are some that are people I don't know, but starting it off for keeping the trend going, my friend Andrew asked, what is the most underrated gaming series in your opinion? So I feel like before we answer this, we have to kind of establish what is our definition of underrated in the first place.
I'd say underrated would be something that's not really seen much in the limelight and something that's kind of overlooked.
Yeah, well, I guess what I meant is usually whenever you have a high quality series that doesn't get as much praise, you have a bunch of people calling it underrated, but I feel like whenever you have a ton of people calling something overrated, the bar of its rating just goes up because you have people calling it underrated. So eventually it kind of becomes a paradox, because then it's not underrated anymore, because then
it comes all the way around.
So I feel like you have to factor in, you can't just say a game, for example, the first thing that came to mind for me was Luigi's Mansion. But I feel like Luigi's Mansion is one of those series that a lot of people call underrated. So I don't know that's a good answer.
I was going to say Xenoblade as one of my answers, one of two.
See, but that's a series that people don't shut up about.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. What you just talked about, it kind of goes all the way around to being pretty well known, quote unquote.
You know what? I just made a video on one of these games today, but I'll go ahead and use this as an opportunity for me to shout it out. I'll say Fast Racing as my underrated gaming series, because it definitely is a beloved series, but maybe it always feels a little bit under discussed at the launch of Nintendo systems whenever it comes out. So this includes Fast RMX on the Switch, Fast Racing Neo on the Wii U. I never played Fast Racing League on the Wii, but shout out to you as well. And then Fast Fusion on the Switch 2, really fun game. Like I said, I just uploaded a video today, so shameless plug. But if you want to hear some of my very brief thoughts on the game. I talked about it there. But just to summarize, specifically with Fast Fusion, I wish there was a little bit more content, but the very low price tag and impressive like visual fidelity and some new fun ideas more than make up for it. So yeah, fast racing. That's my answer. What about you?
I feel like your definition of underrated kind of stumped me a little bit. I guess I have one more, so now I have three of them. I was gonna say Splatoon in terms of like competitive shooters, because Splatoon, you know, you're a kid, you're a squid. I feel like that commercial just immediately killed any interest in America. But don't get me wrong, Splatoon is very popular. Like
in Japan, it's very popular.
Yeah, in Japan, it's humongous. In America, its presence, you know, is slightly smaller, and that's where that comes to the conclusion of quote unquote underrated.
With Splatoon 2, I think it kind of got more notoriety in the States, also just because the Switch was just like so much more successful than the Wii U was. But yeah, definitely like I could see that being like a good underrated series answer.
Like Splatoon 3 sold 11 million units, and again, like anyone would dream of having a game sell 11 million units. That's huge.
Yeah.
But like over in Japan, I don't know what it's like over there, but I assume it's like humongous. I've seen just so many advertisements. I remember when like in-game events would be happening, like Splatfest. They were they were partying it up over there. In America, it's more subtle. Like the audience is definitely there, but like it pales in comparison to something like Fortnite over here, or Call of Duty especially over here. Splatoon is like you know, that stupid little ink shooter game with the kids turning into squids. Who cares about that?
I mean, yeah, but I do kind of feel like the culture is kind of shifting compared to like say 10 years ago. At least like from what I remember 10 years ago, it felt like there was much more of a divide between like, I'm interested in this specific type of game and I'm more closed-minded to trying out other stuff that's outside of it. Whereas now, like, I feel like a lot of my friends that aren't even into games like Splatoon still respect it.
Really?
Yeah, in a weird, not that they like the game, but I don't know, I feel like the cultural like disconnect there. Maybe I'm just completely yapping right now. I don't know, but at least just like from my own perspective, it does kind of
feel like Splatoon's like, for me, from my point of view, maybe it's a little bit split. Some people like really appreciate it, and other people are like, "You play Splatoon?" And I was like, and they're like, "Oh, why don't you play Call of Duty like a real man?"
I do think with Splatoon Raiders, I think that depending on the quality of that game, it could maybe change the perception of Splatoon even more. Just having something that's more unique.
I think Splatoon Raiders is Nintendo's little experiment to see if Splatoon can sort of survive without being like just constantly shooting out mainline games. I think this is the ultimate test for the Splatoon franchise.
And so what were your other two series that you were going to say?
I said Xenoblade, but maybe one other one is the Ori duology.
Yes, good answer.
Yes.
Ori and the Blind Forest and Will of the Wisp, great games.
But like, as you said, with your definition, they're praised so much, maybe it just goes back around where it's not out of the conversation.
I think that one is fair because I always kind of forget about them.
I love Ori. They're great Metroidvanias.
Yeah, they're held in very high regard, but I think that they're games that for some reason I just always kind of never see talked about, really. Like, obviously, whenever they are talked about, it's overwhelmingly positive, but I don't know, maybe it's just like the circles that I'm in, but I always kind of forget. Like, I played them, or I definitely played Ori and the Blind Forest. I don't think I played Will of the Wisp.
I played Will of the Wisp.
Yeah, but
phenomenal.
Yeah, Ori and the Blind Forest was awesome. I love that game. So yeah, I think that's a fair answer. So hopefully that answers your question, Andrew. So moving on, we have from my friend Gabe, do you think the next Smash game will be as big as Ultimate? And generally, what are your thoughts on that franchise? I'm sure you have more to say about this than I do, so I'll let you go first.
I really love the Smash Brothers series. It's very near and dear to my heart. And also, I've been a former Smash Ultimate competitive player. Again, as referring to the first episode, I do take showers, contrary to popular belief. But in regards to your question, I do not think the next Smash game will be as big as Ultimate. I think it's the next Smash Brothers game. I feel like it's inevitable. But I feel like it's going to go the Mario Kart route, where obviously World is not as big as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but it does something completely different and changes up the formula so much where it kind of becomes a little bit of its own thing, where it's deviating from the series in such a great degree. I think the next Smash Brothers game is going to do the same thing, where like, how are you going to top Ultimate with everyone is here? I think the answer is you don't, and you kind of do something new. Now, what that new thing is, I'm not sure, but I'm hoping Sakurai's cooking up something good and not just phoning it in for another Smash 6 game. I think it's going to go in a different direction than what we all expect. I don't think everyone's going to come back again because, well, I think Sakurai's going to be hospitalized again. But I think he's going to try something new and different. And I'll get to general thoughts later, but what do you think?
See, I'm not really like a big Smash person, so I know if I share any opinion about what the next game will be like, it's just going to be me speaking out of my ass. Like, I honestly don't know. But I at least agree that I think, you know, not going with the how much more stuff can we cram in here to make it better. You know, there's definitely like a limit to where that's effective. And I feel like Ultimate's already kind of like pushed over that limit a little bit just because of how just ambitious of a game that is with the character roster. Even just like with the branding, I mean, how do you top something that's called Ultimate? So yeah, I think like if they went with the Mario Kart World route where they have some unique spin on the franchise and they lean into that, some people may like it, others may not. But I think having something that just, you know, evolves the franchise in a way would be really cool. Other than that, I don't really have anything specific. As for like what I think about the franchise, like up to this point, I like it. It's whenever I say I'm not really into Smash, I just mean like that was never a game that growing up I gravitated towards. I've never played it competitively. So my experience is more from a casual perspective, but like Smash Brawl, I really like Subspace Emissary. I used to play a little bit of like Smash Wii U and 3DS, whenever those games were kicking it. And in Smash Ultimate, I play with friends like casually, but I know nothing about like the tier list, like what characters are good, which ones aren't. I just know that I like to play Kirby and spam down B on people and make them mad. Yeah, what do you have to say about like the franchise as a whole?
Specifically in Smash Brothers Ultimate, I have, from what I last saw on my Switch, I think I have like 1,100 something hours in that game over the 7 years of life it's been out. So I have a very huge connection to Ultimate, but I started off with Smash Brothers Brawl on the Wii. That just brings back so many nostalgic memories for my friends and I played Super Smash Brothers for Nintendo 3DS. Didn't own a Wii U, so that was my only experience with 4, and I had a decent time, but it was a little bit more isolating. But then when Smash Ultimate came out, I mean, for the past 7 years, it's been, it's been a great source of joy and so many gaming memories, not just for me, but my friends and just like the people in my life. There's so many moments that I remember. And, sometimes, it's kind of like a comfort game. It's like, people are over at my house. It's like, yo, turn on Smash Bros. And, we turn on and we just play aimlessly for hours, just talking or like getting better.
It's kind of like Mario Kart, where it's a very just accessible game that anyone, regardless of gaming experience, like obviously with Smash, there's a little bit of a learning curve with knowing like what buttons do what. But even then, like the core concept of you're trying to knock each other off the stage, and the more times you get hit, the more vulnerable you are to attacks. It's a very accessible concept. Whereas if you just threw like a random person at a party into like Tekken, I feel like that's a much more intimidating game to, just like be thrown into. So I feel like that is part of the beauty of Smash. So I definitely can see that. But one thing I am interested in though, because you were talking about how, you think that there needs to be some kind of new direction that the series takes with, some kind of like core idea behind the next game. What's an example, if you have one, of what that might be? Whether that be some kind of like new ambitious story mode. Because like with Ultimate we had World of Light, which I didn't play through, but I remember,
sucked.
yeah, I was never really that drawn to it. Of course, like we had Subspace Emissary with Brawl, which although the gameplay of it wasn't perfect, the ambition of it and like the scope was just insane for when that came out. So do you want to see something kind of like that, where it's like a totally new take on like the single player?
Yeah, I was about to say, I would like a new take on like a single player story mode where. I think the biggest draw of Subspace Emissary was seeing all the characters interacting, the cutscenes, and unfortunately Sakurai cut that out of Smash 4 because people were just re-uploading the cutscenes on YouTube. I think that's just the joy of playing through that. So I kind of wish that appears in Super Smash Bros. 6. But I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But I was playing Soul Calibur on Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Classics. And it's more of a it's pretty much 2D, but it has like a 3D environment where you move around in 3D space like a little bit. It's not like full like third person where you're moving the camera automatically moves. Maybe in Smash Brothers, maybe the camera doesn't go in like super close like a real fighting game, but maybe it plays around with more 3D environments.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, just the thought of a 3D Smash game is like tripping me out right now.
I feel like that's something new and wacky that they could evolve the quote unquote platformer fighter on. Though now that I'm saying it out loud, how would platforming work?
Yeah, I don't know. And then the other question that immediately gets brought up too is like, how much would they limit the character roster, and if so, who would get cut from the next game? Because
does anyone care about Ice Climber?
I mean, Ice Climber's cool, just like as a representative, because Ice Climber was a core. Maybe that's a stretch, calling Ice Climber a core game for the NES. I don't know about that.
I don't care about Duck Hunt.
Okay, Duck Hunt actually is an important element of gaming history. Ice Climbers, I don't know, but Duck Hunt for sure. I was gonna say like, because isn't Fire Emblem, isn't that the one where there's like 20 different characters?
There's so many Fire Emblem characters.
Yeah, not to like rile up the Fire Emblem fans out there.
Hey, I've been playing through my second playthrough of Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I do like the addition of Byleth. I don't think she deserved to be there, but I like her being there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say like I think that these Fire Emblem characters should be cut because I've never played a Fire Emblem game, so I don't want to just like say a character I've never like interacted with before should be like removed. But it does kind of feel daunting just how many characters are in Smash Ultimate. Not necessarily that it's a bad thing. I think having more people's favorite character in a game is always a great thing, but I feel like there is a point where if you have so many characters and it's like learning them, it's just like absolutely horrifying if you aren't like a like a returning veteran of the series.
They should also revamp some of the moves for the legacy fighters like Mario and Donkey Kong.
Probably should bring back assist trophies too.
Moves. Yeah. And maybe bring some assist trophies to the forefront as actual fighters.
You're gonna say Waluigi, aren't you?
I was about to say I'm not so much advocating for Waluigi necessarily.
Okay, good.
Maybe someone else more deserving, like Springman from Arms, baby, woo!
Springman would be an interesting Smash fighter.
We already have him.
But like Arms is one of the greatest Nintendo games of all time.
Right,
so I think we could have
multiple fighters. They should put every single Arms fighter into Smash 4.
Get Helix 6. In there. Get Ninjara. Get
Twin
Ribbon
Tail.
Girl. Yeah, get them all.
So, anyways,
I think basically to summarize, like I think doing something new with the next Smash game in a similar vein to Mario Kart World. What about an open world Smash game? That would be crazy. Can you imagine?
That's an insane thing to think about. You're playing as like Kirby and you're like in this open world area where just you find Mario in like I don't know the distance and you go up and beat his ass.
Or like a Smash Bros party game where it's like you're just on a board.
I think they've tried that with Super Smash Bros. For Wii U.
Thank you for ruining my idea, Donovan. All right, so next up, We have a friend of the channel, hopefully a future guest. At some point, we have Pat Nat with, what is the biggest thing that you've changed your mind on or opinion on in regards to game critique? This is a really interesting question. So I'll go ahead and kind of go first because I already kind of have my answer off the top of my head. I would say the biggest thing that I've kind of changed my mind on as I've done more and more of reviewing games is a sort of shift in my perspective on like negative critiques, and not only to games, but just like any piece of art in general. And that's for multiple reasons, because I think it's really important whenever it comes to negative coverage of a product to do it in a respectful manner. And I'm not someone that thinks that you just shouldn't be negative about anything ever. You know, critiquing stuff is incredibly important for multiple reasons. It could be important if some, like, let's just say in this case, a game, let's just say a game just releases and there's someone who's on the fence about buying it and it's like a $60 game. I'm sure they would appreciate knowing things that they might not like about the game before going out and spending the money on it. Or you may have a situation like the recent Mario Kart World update where hopefully a large amount of people voicing their, concern with whatever a game or a change to a game is will spark the developers to fix it. So all of that is valid reasons, in my opinion, for negatively, critiquing a game. But it's also important to remember the impact that your words can have, whether it be on like ruining someone's enjoyment of a product. Because whenever I voice my concerns about a game, my goal is never to, make someone who likes something not like it anymore. I feel like if that's your goal, then that's just a bad reason to be, critiquing something. Because at the end of the day, everyone's allowed to like what they like whenever it comes to games and music, movies, whatever. But then also, these are real people that work on these games that we're talking about, especially indie games. So if someone makes a video, for example, being like, I don't know, just like what's a random indie game, like Stardew Valley. I don't know. So someone makes a video like Stardew Valley is actually a terrible game. I hate all cozy farming games. They all suck or whatever. What you have to remember about these indie games is it's literally either a small team of people or one person in many cases who are working on these products. So I feel like, what they're putting into the game should absolutely be kept in mind whenever you're critiquing it. Once again, not to say you shouldn't critique it, but it's just important to go about it in a, like healthy and respectful manner. But that's probably the biggest thing that I've changed my mind on in terms of game critique. So what about you?
I think something that I've changed my mind on, sometimes we kind of fall in the trap of, this game did this thing so bad, and it's like, I wish this game did added this or this, and like it would have been better if the game did this instead. But I think it's important to sort of take into account what the developer's goals and intentions were when creating the game. For example, in Mario Kart World, in free roam, a lot of people complain there's not really much to do, quote unquote, in free roam.
It's slop, Donovan. It's literal slop.
It's slop. It's open world slop. And there's like no waypoints to look at in your map, and you can't really track anything. But I feel like the developer's goal and intention was, the free roam option, the free roam button is tucked away in the corner of the title screen. I feel like that's kind of, like a little side mode to the main course, that being, the Grand Prix and the versus mode and online. I feel like free roam is, something that you sort of turn on when you're a little bored and just want to vibe out and chill, just drive around to your heart's content, and maybe you just drive around this course and, oh, look, there's a P-switch right there. Have fun in some of the challenges, and, you get it over with. It's nothing special. It's not giving you like this big congratulations, holy crap, you're the best. No, it just gives you a little sticker, and, you just move on, and, there's little peach medallions. And I feel like the developer's intention was like, it's not really the main focus. It doesn't want to throw a bunch of objectives in your face. I feel like their intention was, just dick around and have fun in the world, and, explore to your own leisure.
Yeah, I think that, so I definitely agree with what you said about it's important to keep in mind like what the intentions of the developer was. And I agree and disagree about the specific like example of Mario Kart World, because I do think that like with free roam, they kind of wanted it to feel like a playground that you can just kind of mess around in. But the like kind of devil's advocate point to that is that it was such a big part of the marketing of Mario Kart World that maybe it could feel misleading to some people, that it's like, oh, there really isn't that much going on here. But that's less on the developer and more on like the marketing team for it then.
I feel like it's also to take into account, did the developers achieve this goal really well or really poorly? My opinion on free roam is that I think they achieved their goal perfectly well, and I find myself like I've played on what. Do you ever find yourself in like GTA or, in my case, Lego City Undercover?
Oh no,
where you're just driving around in a car aimlessly.
Yes,
just,
I used to do this.
Just looking around at dumb shit, and that's how I feel in Mario Kart World.
I used to do this in GTA where and what's funny is like, there's some songs that I used to listen to just like on the GTA 5 radio that became some of my favorite songs because they would come on while I was just aimlessly like driving up in the mountains of like Los Santos, and like I would get a motorcycle and try to see, can I drive down the mountain without dying? Like, yeah, you're kind of bringing back core memories right now. But there is a beauty to open world racing games like that, where you're able to just kind of, drive to your heart's content and just get immersed into the world. But kind of back to the original question, I think that those are both very important things to keep in mind with, game critique. It's just remembering the nuance of what goes into game development. Because at the end of the day, these aren't just products that are just like kind of appearing out of thin air. Like there's years and years of development going into them. With games like Mario Kart World, thousands of people. So
it's not always, the soulless corporation making these games. Well, in order to make these games, sometimes, it's the heart of the developers, unless it's, I don't know, some slop game like Concord.
I think it's just disingenuous in general, though, whenever someone tries to make the point that it's like the people who made, I don't know if anyone's saying Mario Kart World is just like completely disingenuous from the development team. But let's just say, because I know there are games that people say this about, and I think it's just completely disingenuous to say that every single last person that worked on this game did not care about it. Like, that's just, whenever you have
and then there's soulless, money-grabbing executives.
I think it's fair to, call out the executives, because oftentimes money is, at the end of the day, like what their main motivation is. But it also, I think, is not fair to take that anger out on, all the people that worked on the game. Some of which maybe they're just like hired by the company and they were assigned to that team, and this is just kind of like an assignment for them. Others may really be excited about this product, and even if it's something that maybe you as the consumer didn't like, I don't think that makes them any less invalid for what they were trying to create. Maybe it just wasn't for you. So I think that, that's another thing that's important. It's just remembering that not every product is for you specifically. There's plenty of games that I did not enjoy, and I just kind of wrote it off as this just wasn't my thing. It doesn't make it innately a bad game. We could honestly have a whole podcast talking about like the nuances of what makes a game good, because that's just such a complex discussion. But that was a really good question, Pat. So now this one I guess is mainly for me, so I'll keep this one brief. But Snowy says, I know Dean mentioned being more of an avid music listener. Do you have any favorite artists or albums? So I won't yap too long about this, because I could easily spend an hour talking about this. I'll just say like a couple. I'm really into like kind of everything. I know that's a really generic answer. A lot of people are like, I'm into everything but country or stuff like that. I would say I like at least some stuff from like pretty much every genre. But mainly my favorites are like rock, indie music. I like soul, jazz, funk, rap as well. The only genres I'm not super into is like metal. And then, I used to not really like electronic music, but I've been warming up to it. And then like some of my favorite artists, or bands, I guess, would be like Arctic Monkeys. I grew up on a lot of old stuff like the Beatles, Pink Floyd, And then like for rap, I like A Tribe Called Quest, Kendrick, just like a lot of the artists and bands that a lot of people like. And I'll just say, I guess my favorite albums. I don't know. I don't want to sit here for too long and just like bore Donovan and
I can answer.
All right, go. All right, yeah. Take it away. Take it away.
I'm not the best when it comes to articulating my musical tastes, but I do have favorites, and I'd say some of my favorite artists are like Bruno Mars, Michael Jackson, Kanye, not Ye.
Oh boy.
Some of Drake, some of Kendrick, The Weeknd, Linkin Park, and like a musical composer like Hans Zimmer. My favorite musical piece of all time is the love theme from Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Nothing will ever top that for me. I just think it's beautiful. But other music that I love, some of my favorites are Love Never Felt So Good by Michael Jackson, Save Your Tears by The Weeknd, Homecoming by Kanye, not Ye, The Less I Know The Better by Tame Impala, Just the Way You Are from Bruno Mars, and why is someone calling me? be right back.
Okay, so that's pretty much it though for the music. Like I said a second ago, if you want to hear more, feel free to join our Discord and we could talk more about it there. So let's see. Next up, that boy Sonic, one of the homies over from DonovanDud, the Nintendo Boys server. What was your favorite video to make? I'll let you go first because I have to kind of think about this one.
Let's see. I have a couple videos to talk about. Maybe my Transformers Saga videos, where I critiqued the films and also watched it with my friends. So like all 5 movies, we had segments of our reactions. Those are just core memories of my friend group, where we just sat down and watched the movie and laughed at how stupid things were, or how weird Michael Bay is. And especially Transformers 5, where I had like 10 people in my basement. We were all suffering. I think they all hate me now because Transformers 5 is a terrible movie. But also filming my little skits throughout. In Transformers 3, I went to war. In Transformers 4, I was a hostage. And in Transformers 5, the world ended. It sounds all weird out of context, but it's always fun to make. I guess in terms of like regular scheduling videos, my Nintendo Giga Leak video I always remember as something very fun to research, as well as collect information from. I remember on GitHub, you can find all the... Maybe I shouldn't be saying this out loud. I think the ninjas will be killing me.
I think every single one of these episodes so far, we've said something to upset the ninjas. So I think
yeah. On GitHub, you can find all of the Nintendo Giga Leak files, and I remember just preparing for the worst. Like, what if it's like a ginormous virus? So I had my Mac ready to go into lockdown mode, and all my friends, I was streaming this with my friends on Discord, and we're like, yo, we can't wait to see your Mac just get destroyed. And it turned out to be fine. I found some really confidential but really fascinating information, and I think I found like an inside joke for some Nintendo employees that involves a helicopter and ramen noodles. It's really interesting. And at the end of the video, I had like an improvised fight scene with myself. It's just me and a clone of myself, and he's a Nintendo ninja. He's trying to kill me. That's always fun to make. That's where the Nintendo Ninja Saga originated from. Maybe my collector's edition video where I just yapped about me flexing my extravagant video game purchases with all my Nintendo Switch collector's editions. I think I briefly talked about this maybe in episode 1 where I might be I may be a dictator when it comes to the director chair.
Just yelling at your friends, like run.
I demand
run a mile,
peak physical activity when it comes to acting. They're borderline method actors at this point. I remember with the specific film Rebirth, which is the third film of the trilogy, the conclusion. I feel like that's my magnum opus when it comes to like little small films. We went all over Chicago. Technically, we went into like a subway with like 5 of my friends. There was initially supposed to be more, but we had to make do with what we had. There's like some weird shit like dropping from the ceiling. We called it like the cancer ceiling. A drop like fell into my friend's eye.
What the fuck?
He's like, I fucking hate this. But anyways, we went through it. It was
Donovan,
like
what is happening?
my inspiration was the Darth Vader scene from Rogue One, the hallway scene where my friend.
Oh, the one where he brutally kills everyone. Yeah, that's
yeah. So everyone got brutally murdered, and my friend who got the cancer in his eye, I told him on this dirty floor, you drop the key and like you have to fall to the floor. He's like, oh, fine. And they did it, and he got
So what's
killed.
funny about this is originally whenever you were talking about you started talking about your movies or your films, I was gonna be like, oh, one day if I ever come to Chicago, I would love to like act in one of these. And then the more you talked about the process, I was like, maybe I shouldn't say that. And also, I find it really funny that the question specifically said singular, your favorite video to make.
Oh, oops.
The passion was oozing out of you though. That sounded weird. But that was really fun to listen to though. That was fascinating. For me, I think I talked about it in the first episode, but my Mario Kart Wii modding documentary is probably my favorite. Just because I worked with a lot of different kind of Mario Kart, both modders and content creators to do research for the entire script. It was by far the biggest video I ever worked on. I think it took probably 4 months to finish. And it was also like kind of in the brunt of like finals period during school. So it was very hectic, but the video ended up being, so far at this point, the biggest video on my channel. That's my favorite video to make though. That was a lot of fun. So next question from Sid Olin. We have, do you think the next Nintendo console will be the Switch 3 or will it be a completely different thing? I feel like that just completely depends on how successful the Switch 2 ends up being. If the Switch 2 ends up moving nearly as many consoles as the original Switch did, it definitely won't move as many, just because of the price, I feel like. But if it's like pretty successful, which I mean it could be, it just kind of depends on how Nintendo handles it, what games it ends up getting. I could see the Switch 3 being a thing. I guess just like whatever the most powerful, or not the most powerful, but just like whatever like would be a reasonable level of like increased power for the Switch 3. Cause I feel like, the core concept is like pretty much nailed by this point, you can take the console wherever you want, play it docked on your TV. If they do a Switch 3, just make the battery life better. That's all I care about.
I think I'm going to gamble here. I think they're going to do a different thing. Because how Nintendo's always operated, it was like they make something innovative and then they iterate on it. And then they make something innovative and then they iterate on it. For example, Nintendo 64, 3D technology, analog stick. GameCube sort of iterated on that and was just more powerful. Wii, motion controls. Wii U, pretty much the same thing. I mean, it's called a Wii for God's sake. Nintendo Switch. Brand new thing. Nintendo Switch 2. Iterative. I don't know what they could possibly think of. maybe I don't know. They dip their toe into VR, or I don't know. They plug a chip in your brain or something. But maybe Nintendo's weird. They could do something different, and I believe that.
But I think
they'll innovate.
I
again.
also think it kind of goes down to how commercially successful the console is, because all of those that you just named, Nintendo 64 to GameCube, the GameCube was less financially successful than the Nintendo 64. Wii to Wii U was much less successful than the Wii. So it makes sense that, after they iterate on it and it was a less successful product, that's whenever they're like, okay, maybe this idea, we've kind of run through it. Let's move on to something else. So.
Yeah.
is it solely like their idea is let's just iterate on it and move on, or is them moving on dependent on how successful voice crack, how successful that iteration ended up being?
Keep that in.
Yeah, I'm keeping that in. So it just kind of, I feel like, goes down to both that whole philosophy of iteration and in innovation. I don't know why that took me so many brain cells to say. Yeah, I mean, most likely I feel like we're going to get something new after the Switch 2. Nintendo isn't really famous for numbering their consoles and just like, you know, making the same thing over and over.
I feel like something new is kind of part of their core
yeah, DNA. It's like, I feel like
what makes them Nintendo.
Innovation is kind of the foundation of, you know, what people think of with Nintendo as a company. So I feel like if I had to put my money on something, it would be that the third one's, or the next console will be something brand new. I don't know what it would be, but most likely something new.
They never chase really numbers, because that's what Xbox and Sony do, and they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot this generation. I feel like Nintendo's always about, you know, recycling old technology to make something new and unique and something that people have never seen before, and something that'll possibly improve and change the way you play games. I feel like that's kind of what their core philosophy is, and you know, sometimes they'll iterate a little bit just to iron out the kinks of the first generation idea. But I feel like after Switch 2, depending on its success, I feel like, I mean, I have no idea, but we could have the Nintendo Neuralink.
That would be crazy.
Just plug yourself in the brain,
like, and you just are the console.
You become Mario.
Pretty much. So another friend of the channel, Blu-ray, says, do you want an open world to be the new standard for Mario Kart, even if it's not the main focus? No. I think I wouldn't be... Okay, I guess if they did it again, it's not like I would be upset, but it's always something that I wanted, but kind of like as a one-game thing, I feel like. And I think Mario Kart World... The only reason I would want it again is if they put a story into it. If it's just like the same playground design of the open world, I feel like Mario Kart World, like I'm happy with what it is in Mario Kart World, and I feel like that kind of gives that game identity. It's going to make it more fun to come back to Mario Kart World in the future whenever we have more titles. So unless if there's something like a story mode or something different about the open world, I don't necessarily think it needs to be the new standard or anything. I never really had an issue with the traditional design. If they go back to just like Grand Prix and all that stuff with some other kind of fun new thing going on, I think that would be fine. But yeah, what about you? What about you, Donovan?
I'm gonna go with, I'll say yes. I feel like there's still, they could sort of iterate and refine like an open world and create something like new, like completely scrap. If they were to do a Mario Kart, well, they obviously are, like a Mario Kart 10 or I guess Mario Kart 11, I feel like they could just forget about Mario Kart World's map and create a brand new, even wackier world map, and maybe they can refine like the little kinks that come with Mario Kart World, you know, refine the intermissions, maybe give us maybe something different than I don't know, P-switch missions, maybe a different supplement a new open world design. I just feel like if they were to go back to like just standard traditional Mario Kart, I feel like yes, it does give World its own like identity, but I feel like it kind of backtracks like a whole lot and just, you know, moves the series kind of backwards.
What do you mean if they don't have an open world in the next one? I don't necessarily think it would be backtracking. I think it would only be backtracking if they removed the open world and didn't substitute it with anything else, like any other new ideas.
Oh yeah, if they just did a brand new open world, same ideas, same P-switch missions, Just with like new tracks, I feel like that would be a little bit infuriating. But if they were to do an open world, yeah, like a brand new world, new locations.
Okay, so maybe I misunderstood you. So are you saying if they did the just like the same map, just with different tracks, then it would be like annoying?
Yeah, that would be annoying. But if they did a brand new world with brand new tracks, brand new missions, brand new collectibles, maybe you can actually, I don't know, interact more with the open world. Yeah. I feel like that's building on what you have, and that's room for great expansion and great creativity.
But do you think the next game needs to be open world though? Like if it was some other idea, would that bother you? Even if they went back to the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe formula where there's just like a shitload of tracks, maybe with some kind of new gameplay mechanic, maybe we keep the rail hopping. Maybe there's some, I don't know what it would be.
Honestly, maybe, again, I think maybe I'll be slightly disappointed because in my opinion, I feel like it would be a little bit of backtracking, in my opinion.
I guess I disagree. I think it could be backtracking. It just kind of depends on how they do it. Because it's also like I said before, having, the big open world be Mario Kart World's thing, I feel like kind of is a cool aspect of like the franchise whenever it comes to like 10 years down the line, looking back at all of the games. That way it's like, whenever you're going back and replaying the games, Mario Kart World is unique in that way. It's the open world Mario Kart game. Before Mario Kart World came out, we were probably having like just as much fun with or at least I personally was. It's not like the amount of fun I'm having with Mario Kart is different. It's just I'm having a different, type of fun. It's more about like exploration now, seeing a different side to these tracks. We don't have as many tracks, but so I don't think that like my excitement is necessarily tethered to whether the game is open world or not. If the question is, do I think it will be, not do I want it to be? I mean, if I had to guess, probably. But also, given how controversial it's been, I don't know. Because I think because this is Mario Kart's first open world escapade, Nintendo's able to get away with it more because it's like brand new and fresh. But if they kept doing it and they didn't resolve those issues, then we might be seeing an issue. And even then, I mean, the fact that the game is $80 is already controversial enough.
Yeah.
So,
I just think, if they were, I would like them to do another open world. I think the main focus of a Mario Kart game is the courses, but I also like, that cherry on top with the interconnectedness and that expansive world that brings everything together. I like that aspect. I feel like it makes
I do too.
Mario
I like
Kart
it.
Feel so much bigger and grand. And if they were to do another open world, I feel like they can, iterate on it. And let
me rephrase then, because I'm not saying I don't want the next game to be open world. I'm just saying I don't care necessarily. So okay. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think if the next game is open world and they improve upon it, I think that'd be awesome. Like I'm not saying I don't want that, but I'm saying I don't think that that's the only direction the series can go from here.
Yeah,
I think there absolutely is like multiple options for like what they can do with the next game, and it'd be just as awesome. So, that would be a discussion for a whole other time if we want to talk more in the future about what the next game could be like. We're already at almost an hour, so we have one more question to go, and this question is also on Mario Kart. So if you just hate Mario Kart, then I'm sorry. But ZPL, another friend of the channel, says, what is your favorite Mario Kart track from each game?
I did write this one down.
Oh, okay, shit. So I have already made ranking videos of each game, but I know my opinions have changed on some of them. Super Mario, do you want to go game by game and just like say what our favorites are?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Super Mario Kart, mine has not changed. It's still Mario Circuit 2, although I think that most of the tracks in the game suck, so there isn't really much notoriety to that.
I do not care about Super Mario Kart.
You just don't even have a favorite.
I just put down Rainbow Road because, it's hard. It's Rainbow Road.
I mean, it's iconic. Cool. It's
iconic. Yeah, sure, Rainbow Road.
So Mario Kart 64, in my original ranking, I said Yoshi Valley. That's no longer my favorite. My favorite track in that game might be Banshee Boardwalk now, and I know it's probably not like objectively the best track in that game, but like there's just like this really unique haunting vibe that track gives you that I feel like no other track in the series really does. So I'll go with that. I'll go Banshee Boardwalk.
For Mario Kart 64, I put down Calamari Desert because of the train. I love the train. I mean, it's such a vibe.
That's not the worst answer you could have given. I like Calamari
kind of
Desert.
it. I've played Mario Kart 64 like 3-4 times in my life.
Yeah, I mean, well, the game sucks, so I don't blame you. But I like how we were you know what's so funny about that is literally at the beginning of the episode, we were talking about how you need to be respectful about game critique and all that. And then here I am.
Sucks.
Obviously, I'm hyping up how much I don't like the game for the podcast. I don't hate Mario Kart 64, and I respect the game. I know it's very important. I just don't have fun whenever I play it. So there you go. Mario Kart Super Circuit.
Oh, if there's a game that I haven't cared about at all, it's this one.
No, Mario Kart Super Circuit's that's one of my underrated games. But Mario Kart Super Circuit, I would say, I think originally my video I said Ribbon Road. I think that was my number one. You know what? I'll stick with Ribbon Road. I don't think my mind's really changed.
I've played Mario Kart Super Circuit once, and Ribbon Road is my favorite.
Donovan, it's a good game, okay? Like people, it's not the best Mario Kart, but like it's better than the two games that came before.
Why would I go back to Super Circuit?
Well, I have a video on it, so go to my channel and watch it after the podcast, and I explained there. So not to plug my channel again, but that's there. So Double Dash, where we start getting into the truly great Mario Kart games. I think my number one was Rainbow Road. You know what? Yeah, I'll say either Rainbow Road or Bowser's Castle from Double Dash. It kind of changes based on whatever mood I'm in. I'll say Rainbow Road, though. It's probably my favorite Rainbow Road in the series. So.
I also haven't played much of Double Dash.
Donovan, have you played any of the games?
No, we're coming up to the games that I have played much of. Double Dash, I'll go with DK Mountain.
Okay, I mean, so far all of your answers are valid, I feel like. I'm waiting for you to say some just dumbass thing, though. Like.
Some abhorrent track.
Mario Kart DS. What is my... Oh, Bowser's Castle. That's my favorite track from that game. Easy.
Oh, I forgot about that. My favorite track...
But honorable mention for Airship Fortress and TikTok Clock.
Ooh. What about Waluigi Pinball?
The track's just a tiny bit overrated. Just a tiny bit.
Really?
I mean, I like it. It's great. It's a great track.
I love the vibes. I love the twists and turns and the last part where it's just the giant pinball machine. You just gotta pray. Don't get hit.
Yeah, no, it's also a great theme for a track. It's just not my favorite to actually race on. I think maybe it's just too linear.
I also love the music. Music is also
the music's awesome.
Big factor.
But also, like, how many Mario Kart tracks are there that don't have great songs? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Mario Kart is just one of those series where, like, if you click shuffle on any track in the series, like, I would give it like a 70% chance that it's gonna be at least like a good song. You know what I mean? But most of them are good. Maybe barring like a few, but you know, Mario Kart Wii.
This one's a tough one for me.
This is one where my answer is always changing. It goes back and forth between Grumble Volcano, Maple Treeway, and Coconut Mall. I think right now in this moment, I'm gonna lock in Coconut Mall is my favorite. I know before I said Maple Treeway, but right now it's Coconut Mall.
Perhaps for nostalgic reasons, I chose Coconut Mall as well.
You can stop stealing my answers now if you want. I mean, that's not
Coconut Mall is such a vibe. Maybe it's not the most complex course, but
it's pretty complex.
Like
wait, whoa! What do you mean not complex?
Whoa! You
got little like random speed boost everywhere. You got like shortcuts.
I feel like something like Grumble Volcano or Maple Treeway is a little more complex and more difficult.
I mean, they're probably more complex, but I feel like for a Flower Cup track, Coconut Mall's got a decent amount of stuff going on. You got the parked cars at the end that you have to avoid. You got the escalators that you have to know whether you're going up or down.
Okay.
You know, there's some fun stuff going on.
I feel like there's not much to like fall off of, I guess, and like the twists are I guess there's one twist that's a little bit difficult, but nothing too crazy.
So Mario Kart 7 is a game I don't care about, but
you care about Super Circuit?
More than 7, yeah. Or at least now, I think before I used to not like Super Circuit and I grew to like it more. And I mean, it's not that I don't like Mario Kart 7, it just kind of feels like a whatever game to me in the series. But my favorite track from Mario Kart 7 is probably Wario Shipyard.
I like that one. But my favorite course of all time is 3DS Rainbow Road.
That is such a generic take, Donovan. That is so...
The music's awesome. Love the space theming. I love how it's a not like a traditional 3-lap course. It's one where you just have to race to the end like a gauntlet. I love the theming as well. I already said that, but it's awesome.
So Mario Kart 8. Let's just say Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the sake of this.
The plus booster course pass?
Yeah, okay. Let's throw all 96 tracks into the ringer. See, this one's hard because there's just so many. I remember in my video ranking it, I think I said Wild Woods was my favorite, which I know is a pretty interesting take. I feel like not that many people have Wild Woods at number 1. But I feel like it still kind of is. It's either that or the remake of Ribbon Road. But because I already said Ribbon Road for Super Circuit, I'll say Wild Woods for Mario Kart 8.
I'm going with my heart. I'm gonna cheat a little bit though. In base Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, N64 Rainbow Road. I mean, I love the warm golden aesthetic that it has over, honestly, 3DS Rainbow Road and Rainbow Road in Mario Kart 8. Love the gold aesthetic. Love the train. Awesome train. Gets points for that.
I love how confidently wrong you are. Like, that's awesome. Like,
love the cityscape in the background, the music, and it's another gauntlet one where you just race to the end. It just feels so good.
It's a good track. It's a good track.
If we want to count Booster Course Pass, I'm going to have to go with 3DS Rainbow Road again.
Shout out to Squeaky Clean Sprint, though. That is a fire Booster Course track. And Yoshi's
I do
Island.
like that. Mm-hmm.
All right, and then ending it off with Mario Kart World.
Whoa.
Huh?
You forgot something. Mario Kart Tour, of course.
Half of those tracks are in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
I got one for Mario Kart Tour, and it's Singapore Speedway.
Okay. If we're talking about tour tracks, I'll go with... Was Squeaky Clean Sprint a tour track, or was that made in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe?
It's technically Booster Course Pass.
Okay. Tour... I'll say...
But it is in Tour,
Athens
so you
Dash.
can say that.
Athens Dash.
That's
my favorite. It's my favorite
like
city
the
track. The
brown ruined aesthetic.
I do, actually, yeah.
The brown.
I get the sense that you're trying to make fun of me, but I'm not taking back my answer. Awesome. And then Mario Kart World, my most recent ranking, so I feel like my opinion hasn't really changed at all because I just made that list. But... Wait, I'm trying to remember what my number 1 was. I already forgot. Wait, I'm blanking right now. What was my number 1? Fuck. I really should. Okay, you go ahead and answer. I'll go.
Yeah,
let me look
I had 3 options, but I ended up on Great Question Block Ruins, the one where all the Twitter clips are at. It's just a fun course to just experiment on and just do a bunch of tricks.
Yeah,
rail
Question Block
grinding,
Ruins.
wall riding. Love it.
That was my number 1. So we agree. I don't know why I forgot that I put that at number 1, but I just blanked there for a second. Yeah, Great Question Block Ruins.
Honorable mentions. The Donkey Kong one, I forget its name.
Boy, it must be a great track if you don't remember the name of it.
I especially love that one with the intermission included because it's a giant. I think it was 9 laps or maybe 8 laps where you're just racing to the end. It's like first to the finish. I love that. And that I don't remember the name.
It's DK Spaceport.
The other, yeah. And the other one is the train one. Whistle Top Summit.
Okay, so both of your favorite tracks you just don't remember the name of. Okay.
The train.
And by the way, this is the game with the least amount of tracks since Double Dash too. So, all right. Well, yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. I mean, really, that was like 9 questions in one. So, I mean, there you go. So that's it for this episode of the Special Hour. If you have any questions of your own that you want to hear us talk about, it can be gaming related, not gaming related, whatever you want. Feel free to either comment it down below or join the Special Hour Discord server where we have a specific channel for asking questions. So Donovan, what do you do on YouTube? Where can the people find you?
On YouTube, you could find me at DonovanDud, where I traditionally do gaming retrospectives, reviews, discussions. That's probably more of the forefront these days. And maybe the occasional movie video or gameplay video, but mostly retrospectives and discussions. You can find me on Instagram, the Donovan Dud, or on Twitter, and you can probably mostly interact with me on Discord via my Discord server, the Nintendo Boys.
Awesome. So as for me, thank you for asking where they can find me, Donovan. I appreciate that.
Oh, sorry, I blanked out. Sorry, I watched the Minecraft movie before this. My brain is not here.
So are you going to say it now, or are you just going to let me?
Yeah, where can we find you?
Thank you, Donovan. Thank you so much for including me. So you can all find me, MrDean44 on YouTube. I am on Twitter, Blue Sky, also MrDean44. And then I have my Discord server, the Dean Kingdom. So just kind of your normal Discord server type stuff. So if you want to join, we would love to have you. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to the Special Hour. I can't believe we've already done 4 of these. That's like wild to me.
Big stuff coming up in the future.
Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. And yeah, hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week.
Goodbye, guys. See you in the next one.
That was the world's worst outro, but there we go.